Welcome to the Michael Zehr Show. Today's date is September 30th, 2022, with audio. Yes, thank you, Eric. Appreciate it, bud. Coming to you live from the Rising Eagle Studios here at the Warrior Healing Center in Sierra Vista, Arizona, Cochise County. And today's special guest is Aurelius Alexander. I remember the last name, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. So thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it. I had not met you before. I understand that you've got a good presence here at the Warrior Healing Center. So we're very happy that you're here. And I understand that you're doing great things for our community, which is another kudos in your hat. So thank you for all that you do. And I'm just so glad that you can sit down. And for those veterans that are watching, you're going to get to learn exactly what Aurelius does here in our area. So I like to always start off with my veterans so that everybody gets an idea to know a little bit about you.
Okay.
Where was home at? Where were you born, went to school, things like that?
Okay. Well, thanks for having me, Mike. Really appreciate it. And so to answer your question, I was born in a small town called Carthage, Texas. Okay, it's about 20 minutes away from Shreveport, Louisiana, right there on the border. After that, once my parents got married, we ended up moving to Athens, Greece. So my dad was prior service. He's retired Air Force.
How old were you when you lived there?
From the ages of 3 to 7.5.
Do you have any recollections of it, or
a lot of good memories?
Yeah,
in
good,
Athens, Greece, a lot. The islands, Crete, shopping, stuff like that. Beautiful place. If you ever get a chance, definitely take a trip to Greece for a couple weeks. But then after Greece, we ended up moving to Columbus Air Force Base, Mississippi. We were there for a couple years, and then we finally settled in Florida. My dad was stationed at MacDill Air Force Base.
Okay, and he was Air Force, right?
Civil engineer.
Civil engineer. Okay.
Yep. So that's where we stayed. That's where I went to elementary school, middle school, high school.
Where is Fort MacDill at?
So MacDill Air Force
Or
Base.
MacDill. I said Fort. I can't believe I did that.
It's okay. So MacDill Air Force Base is located in Tampa, Florida.
Okay.
Okay. A lot of our operations go out of there between almost all branches. It's definitely a nice base.
So did you become a Buccaneers fan then, and a Rays fan and all that?
Buccaneers is my second favorite team.
Second favorite. Who's your first?
I don't know if I should say that on here.
It's okay.
I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan.
That's cool. That's cool. It's America's team.
That's right.
Not my team, but it's America's team.
That's right. So pray for us this season.
So you're in Florida, and then what? You graduated high school, and what was next for you? What?
Well, I wanted to be a fighter pilot, an F-16 pilot. Being around my dad and some of his friends, some of his experiences. Growing up watching planes, I actually wanted to be a pilot.
Wow.
And I didn't make it into the Air Force Academy, and I had done 3.5 years of Marine Corps Junior ROTC in high school.
Oh.
So that had a huge influence on my direction. I knew I always wanted to go military, and my family being, I think, a third or fourth generation military, we all join the military, or we all go to school, graduate, college and stuff like that. And I ended up not going to the Marines since they wouldn't give me the job I wanted.
Which was?
Well, definitely not looking at maps all day.
Okay.
So I'll never forget, I had a recruiter. Right, his name was Sergeant First Class Paradise. Right, you can't forget that.
Can't forget that name.
Can't forget that name. And so he comes up to me, senior year of high school, trying to figure out which direction I'm gonna go in, and he says, "Hey, man, if I play you in 21 and I win, will you join the Army?" And I was like, "You're not gonna beat me. It's not gonna happen." Right? I didn't know that I had to play against his other 5 or 6 recruiters before I got to him. So yeah, I got tired. I lost. All right. And I said, you know what? I'm not sure which way I'm going to go. I know I'm going to join the military one way or the other. I ended up signing up.
Wow. So you enlisted, when was that?
So that was 2001, and I ended up going to basic training 28 June 2001.
And where was that?
Fort Benning, Georgia.
Okay.
home of the infantry.
And after a basic training, then you went for AIT. Where at?
At Fort Gordon.
You stayed at Fort Gordon.
Fort Gordon.
So,
Yeah.
what was the total time that you were there for, from like starting with basic training through AIT?
So just being in Georgia alone, from June all the way to about November.
Okay.
So the end of June, July, all the way to about November.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was actually in Fort Gordon. I'll never forget. I was sitting outside of the chow hall with my battle buddies eating lunch when 9/11 happened.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Everybody remembers where they were on that day and what they were doing.
Exactly what I was doing.
Yeah. And what was, good morning, Laird. Thanks for joining us. I actually know that guy.
Oh, okay.
So after your AIT, and what was it again? You were going to do your MOS?
I ended up doing. I was a 31 Lima / 25 Lima. Now it's 25 Lima. I was a cable wire systems installer maintainer, what we call cable dogs.
Right.
I was a cable dog.
Signal.
Mm-hmm.
You ever get here at Fort Huachuca?
Yeah, that's how.
I'm just curious. What unit?
I ended up. So when I first got here, 10 December 2003. I was in 69th.
Ah.
And I ended up transferring over to Delta Company 86 Signal Battalion. Delta
Weren't they the zoo? Used to be called the zoo, I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. Yeah.
So after your AIT training, and now you are a cable dog, where was your first duty assignment?
So as AIT was approaching an end, I had a airborne ranger contract, and I kind of opted out of that. Right. Okay. I was kind of, scared. I was homesick. I was young, fresh out of high school and stuff, and I didn't know what was going on. And they were trying to recruit, and then I kind of, backslid on it and went home to visit. So they ended up sending me to Camp Colburn, Korea. I ended up not going to airborne school.
Oh, so they punished you by sending you to Korea.
Oh yeah, Gucci Station, man. So they ended up sending me to Camp Colburn. I joined Charlie Company 304 Signal Battalion.
Okay.
And that's where I did a couple of years.
So you were in Korea for 2 years. What were your experiences there? Did you like it there? Was it a nice area? Because I personally have never been to Korea. So I like to find out like different cultures and stuff like that and experiences. So
Korea was definitely rough at first. That's definitely a culture shock. Being a Florida boy, going to where it's like super cold, culture's very different. I definitely loved it though. After maybe my first few months of being there, learning how they did things, the work I was doing was really good. Plus your time off, you're shopping, you're going out, you're learning stuff. I definitely had a lot of great memories in Korea. In fact, that's where I had my first marriage, was in Korea. Okay. To another soldier.
All right.
Yeah. We have 2 daughters.
Cool.
Yeah.
How old are they now?
So my oldest one, she's 19.
They grow up so quick, don't they?
Yeah.
And her name?
Her name is Cheyenne Elizabeth.
Cheyenne? I want to give her a shout out here. So.
All right, Cheyenne. Hope you're doing something productive. On your tablet.
And your other daughter?
So my youngest is 17.
Okay.
Okay. And she's actually in Mississippi right now. Her name is Lauren Adrian.
Oh, okay.
So
2 very pretty names. Unique. Yeah.
That's my...
Say hi to her too, because we don't want Daddy to be playing favorites now.
Oh, I'm going to call you later. We've got some homework to discuss about this algebra grade. Bring that up.
But I got to tell you, though, being a parent, and then I know you don't want to get there yet. You're young, but when you become a grandfather, oh, my God, it's so great.
I'm terrified. Terrified.
Don't be. It's the best feeling because you get to spoil them rotten. And then when they start acting up, turn them right back over to mom and dad. So you're in Korea for 2 years, and then where did you go after that?
So I ended up getting stationed here. There was a lot of complications with where I was going to go next, but because I was part of the Married Army Couples Program, she was already stationed here. She got here. We had our first child, and then I ended up following suit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's how I got here.
So you're get to Fort Huachuca, what was the first thing you thought of our community and everything when you came in and you saw it? What was your first impression?
That it's not Florida,
Not Florida.
not even close.
We don't have the humidity, that's for
It
sure.
was definitely dry heat,
Yeah.
and I was not prepared for the first probably 60 days, right? But it was beautiful. Everything is spread out, wide
Right.
open, and when I got on post, I was like, wow, this is very different, you know. And I actually kind of really liked it because it wasn't cluttered, it wasn't congested, you know, and I actually was having fun. So, you know, definitely kind of enjoyed it for the first year I got here.
Did you go into the barracks when you first got here, or did you have economy housing, or
We had housing.
so where was your housing at on base?
It was on base. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
because that housing on Fort Huachuca has changed so much over the year. It might have changed already when you got here. I don't
Mhm.
remember what year it was, but they used to have all of these duplexes,
Yeah.
right? And then slowly but surely they would tear down an area, and then they would
Yep.
come in and build these really nice quarters
Yeah.
for them, which I think our military deserves something like that. You know,
It's true. So when I got here, we already had a house. You know, 'cause she was already here. I could not get out of my extension, and that was fine. So we had a house on post,
Okay.
and then I was actually part of one of the first people to get one of the newer houses in the newer communities.
All right.
So we went from there, and I watched them like destroy that house and everything, and I got to move into one of the newer houses, and those are really nice.
It's the difference between night and day, isn't it?
Huge difference. Huge difference.
So you were here at Fort Huachuca. Tell me, like, what one of your like daily routines would be like at work.
At work, well, it was always, you know, you got your morning PT. I think everyone has that. After that, we were always meet in the motor pool, figure out where our assignments were for the day. Um, at one point in my career, I had additional tasks. You know, I was unit armor and stuff like that, combat lifesaver. So I'd be branching off after, you know, running cable or, you know, doing something in the motor pool. And I would go into the arms room. I'd go handle maintenance. I'd go,
Okay.
you know, get ready for another course and stuff like that.
What was this combat lifesaver that you were talking about?
Combat lifesaver.
Yeah. What is that?
So basically, you know, anyone that's a EMT or a paramedic has probably run into someone that's TC3 certified, and basically you're not a medic,
Okay.
or a corpsman or anything of that nature, but you can help with battlefield trauma.
Okay.
Okay, so you can stabilize life. You know, you learn your basic life support. You learn how to properly use tourniquets. You learn how to stop wounds and bleeding and stuff like that. And so it's you're not, like I said, you're not quite as high as an EMT. Okay, but if your battle buddy's in trouble or if you're in trouble, you can save their life or at least stabilize them.
And did you have to go to a special school for that, or was that just like one of the trainings that you had? Why, you know, like kind of on the side, other duties as assigned type of thing?
Well, I'm not sure how it is now. I know they've broken it down. So they normally send out a few members from every unit to go to this course.
Okay.
There are, I think as of this year or last year, there's combat lifesaver for medical personnel already, and that's pretty much a refresher for them. There's combat lifesaver all service members, which is like the basic. Every unit can send someone. They
Right.
need to have someone, you know, on duty that knows how to, you know, save a life. And I believe there's one more where, you know, it's just a quick 8 hour, you know, 2 days, 8 hour course or something
Right.
like that. For me, it was a full 40-hour course, so 5 days a week.
See, I remember I was supposed to be an MP, and then I
Mhm.
ended up in MedAct as
Okay.
medical records, and I was stationed here at Fort Huachuca.
Okay.
And I remember we used to have to go out in front of the hospital, and even though I was a medical records clerk, we still had to do first aid. We still had first aid type training.
Right.
You had to learn how to clear an airway and
Yep.
then pressure on a wound and stuff like that. So I was just kind of wondering. It sounds like maybe that
Exactly the
it's
same.
grown some.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure they've added a lot more to it. I recently took a look at the NAEMT, .com. Their certification process is very extensive. It's very serious. There's so much has been added to the TC3 program that they teach it now to law enforcement. They teach it to private security. It's that is that high quality course that you want to have somebody
Yeah.
in your organization to know, you know.
It's a good thing to have that training, definitely, because you never know when you're going to need it to save a
Right.
life, for sure.
Exactly, especially with car accidents, mass shootings. It's definitely one of the courses that I encourage anybody to take. Anyone, stop the bleed, something like that.
I can't imagine what it must be like when you brought up mass shootings to have to be worried about going to school or church or I mean shopping malls. You never know. So like you just said, having that training, especially today,
Yeah.
you never know when you're going to have to rely on that training.
Exactly.
So. And I was really happy when you walked in this morning because I didn't know who you were, and I didn't know if you wanted to introduce your little friend that you brought with us here today. But since we're talking about the mass shooting, yeah. So
Yeah, so I'm running a Glock 19X
okay,
right now. I've got, of course, like every other veteran, I've got several others. But,
yeah.
I'm more of a knife guy, to be honest. So yeah, I've definitely got the Glock 19X, and I'm running a G code tactical holster, sock rig, special operations compatible.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
So anyone out there that is big on G code holsters or Safari land, they know what I'm talking about.
Where can you go in our area to do like target shooting, practice stuff like that? You know?
So with some of the organizations that I'm with, we go to the Sierra Vista shooting range, and then sometimes that'll be like on a Saturday or something, and then like on a Sunday we'll go down to the Douglas shooting range. You also have a range in Tucson, and then I just actually checked out C2 Tactical in Phoenix, and that is an amazing indoor range.
Wow.
Amazing indoor range, very good.
I hear the Sierra Vista range is pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have several ranges out there. Some more so for pistols, some more for long gun. We've set up, some tactical training out there. We've done some 3-gun shooting competition training out there. Yeah, Sierra Vista shooting range is pretty nice. Especially if you're just learning or you want to get into it. They actually hold a course several times a month. Some just for women that want to learn, some for your basic defense pistol. They want to learn how to actually shoot their pistol properly, safety tactics, all that stuff. Yeah, Sierra Vista Range, they've got it there.
I was watching the veteran-owned business stream last night that they were doing, and the veteran, I forget what his name was. Darn it! Anyhow, he opened a Second Amendment gun shop, so he was talking about that and a lot of informative stuff that he was putting out on that. So you were stationed here at Fort Huachuca then for how long?
So I was stationed here for 2 years.
2 years, and then where did you go after that?
I actually ended up getting out here.
You got out here at Fort Huachuca?
Yeah.
So when you got out, what were your plans? For example, when I got out, we didn't have anybody to kind of guide us to go to have that transfer from military life into civilian life.
Right.
So did you have any of that kind of help transferring?
I didn't. So when I got out, we actually didn't have any type of VA centers here. We had to go all the way to Tucson.
All right.
Transitioning, back then when you ACAP and you're getting ready to get out, they would just talk to you about school. Just go to school when you get out. But if you didn't already have a plan, if you didn't have a job already lined up, that transition is very hard. And that's kind of what, after I recovered from, like, oh, what do I do? And, trying to get my life together, I began to see more and more soldiers, more of our military veterans, doesn't matter which branch, all have the same issue. They get ready to get out. They don't know where to go, right? They're getting pulled in multiple directions. And at the same time, now today's military, we're more family oriented. So now it's not just you have to worry about. You have to be concerned about how are you going to make ends meet. You got a new kid on the way. Your wife is barely working or your spouse is barely working. What do I do? And that's kind of where I started getting into helping veterans.
Did you, at any time, have to go through for VA ratings, for VA disability compensation, anything like that?
Yeah, in fact, it's something I'm still trying to go through.
Still fighting them, huh?
Still trying to get some things worked out.
I'll encourage you not to give up. Don't ever give up. Those are benefits that you fought and earned.
Right.
as a soldier that served uh, protecting our country. So don't ever get
Right.
frustrated, because I know the VA healthcare system can be very frustrating. And not only do I encourage you that, but I
Hmm.
encourage anybody else that watches the video here, don't give up, because when you give up, then basically they're winning.
Right.
And you don't want that. You want what's best for you, and
Right.
it's their job to make that happen, to take care of the soldier
Exactly.
as part of the VA healthcare system. So,
Exactly. That's a lot of people like to talk about the VA, but that's just one tiny piece of it.
mhm.
When I actually first started helping veterans was with financial literacy. Okay, getting out of the military. If you think about it, when you're in the military, you don't really have a whole lot of bills at first. When you first come in, you really don't have to worry about housing. You don't have to
Nope.
worry about this bill, that bill. You've got your cell phone, your vehicle, maybe, and maybe a few other bills, right? But when you get out and you're trying to figure out how to manage your money, what is this? What is a mortgage? What is a lease? What is a loan?
What are taxes?
Exactly, right. And I ended up actually working at a bank. Was a personal banker for a while, for a couple of years, and soldiers are coming to me prior to deployment. Soldiers were coming to me prior to getting out, and the look on their face, the bewilderment, like, oh, how do I take care of this? How do I pay for that? So helping with that transition became like a big part of my life for a few years. Definitely.
And where did uh, that love for helping veterans, where did that go from there? Did Because I know it blossomed.
Hmm.
So what was the next step that you did after that?
I'm trying to think. It's a little fuzzy, but I think at one point I ended up running into someone who was a Mission 22 ambassador
Okay.
in Tucson or Phoenix, and I'd already seen them on social media, and I was already participating in low level stuff, and then I ended up becoming a Mission 22 ambassador, and
Wow.
that's once I saw what they were doing and what they did to make people more aware of veteran issues, I went ahead and signed me up.
I did forget to ask you,
Hmm.
because after you had gotten out, because then I go all over the place. I'm
It's
sorry
okay.
about that. I forgot to ask you,
Hmm.
why did you decide to stay in our community? I know why I stayed, but I'd like to hear from our other veterans.
Hmm.
What is it about our community that appealed to you, that wanted you to stay?
So to be honest, how do I want to put this? I was actually trying to leave. I was actually on my way out, going to
Mhm.
try and head home and take the family out there. But I was going through so much turmoil. Okay, family wise, finances, all of that, and it's like to pick up and leave something that was a little bit secure
Right?
and try and start over was a fear.
Big time.
Okay, I was young, not a lot of guidance as far as which direction do I go in now that I'm out, and so not having certain resources, and then not having like that family resource. I didn't have that family support structure from back home.
Right?
That most people have. You get out, oh, I'll just go back home to the farm, or I'll go back home to the city, and I didn't have that. So I actually went through a very dark period where I was in limbo trying to figure out what I was going to do. I just stayed here. It just felt safer to stay here.
Right?
If that answers your question.
It does. Thank you. And going back into this Mission 22, I have
Mm-hmm.
to be honest with you. I hadn't heard about it,
Mm-hmm.
and Kathy was telling me about it. She says, Michael, you have to interview Aurelius. He just joined the center. He's very passionate about helping veterans. He's with this organization. Uh, help me out. Something 22, Mission 22,
Mission 22.
Mission 22. And because I hadn't heard of it, I decided, well, I'm going to Google it. So I Googled it.
What'd you find?
Um, I found that it's a nationwide organization. It's not like a chapter that's like just located in one little area, but it's actually a huge, pretty big organization.
Right.
I also found out that one of your big things is stopping veteran suicide, which is one of the Warrior Healing Center's number one goals,
Right.
because we lose so many of our nation's veterans to suicide, and obviously it's not going to be publicized in the news. It's not
Right.
going to be talked. So people, even here in Cochise County, probably don't know this, but we've lost probably 10, if not more, in our community uh, this year
This year.
to veteran suicide, if not more.
Yeah.
And it's something that's very near and dear to my heart, and I want to help because I know how passionate you are about wanting to help. And I think that your passion and that feeling that you give where you want to
Mm-hmm.
help these veterans,
Right.
other people see your action,
Mm-hmm.
and I think you inspire people by that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And it's funny that you say it because that's actually where I actually got that from someone else. You
okay.
know, I did lose some friends to suicide. Over the last, I want to say 11 and 12 years. And it's hard. So taking someone else's energy, making it my own, it really hitting home with me. That's where I decided I needed to be a little bit more proactive. And so with Mission 22, yeah, they have events. They try and make more and more people aware, more and more people join, and to actually let you know we're international.
Oh, international.
We're international.
Okay. All right.
We have people all over the world. Right now we're
Even better.
right now we're a little over 3,600 ambassadors.
Wow.
Nationwide. A lot of partner programs that assist with veterans. A lot of partner programs that assist with families in general. Okay, remember, like today's military service member, they're more family oriented. So
Right.
a lot of our programs not only help the veteran themselves or the active duty personnel, but they help the family. So with Mission 22, we do everything from connecting the veteran with the right resources. You've got crisis intervention, financial aid. You've got some of the different partner programs. You need a service animal. We have different, canine programs. You need help with, fractured marriage. We have programs to help you with that. So whatever your situation is, right? You go to Mission 22, go to mission22.com. You take a look at their programs. You say, you know what? This is what I need. This is what my family needs. We work with a lot of other organizations, and you just say, okay, I need this. I need this. I'm having this type of issue, this type of feeling, and it's more of a, okay, let's connect you. Let's get these bases covered so you can go back to being a productive member of society.
Okay.
You know,
When somebody might be watching this and later tonight or later in the week or month, and they see, wow, I'm struggling right now. I could really use their assistance. How would somebody be able to get that assistance from you?
Okay. Well, here I'm at the Warrior Healing Center. If they want it directly from me, we have our intake
Right.
process.
Yeah.
And so, like, my role here is to connect the veterans with those resources. Well, let's say someone's watching out there that, they're not in this area, mission22.com. That's your very first start. All right. Go to the website. Okay. Even if you're not ready to be an ambassador to help and you need help yourself, start taking a look at the programs. Just click on programs. Okay, if you're a veteran, click on programs for veterans. If you're a spouse, a family member, click on programs for families. Okay, those two main areas. You just click on those and start going through and say, you know what? I need help with pain management.
Right.
I need help focusing. I need help with education. Okay, I'm having a crisis. Where can I go? As long as we can give you the information so you can make the best decision, right? We've done our job. And we try and, follow up. You start applying for these programs. And here's a great thing. You go online, you look at these programs, they're to no cost to the veteran.
No cost. Wow.
No cost to the veteran.
Awesome.
Okay, so it's not like, oh, I can't do it because I don't have the money. Come see us, right? Just go online, take a look. You know what? I need this. I need that. We work with a lot of other partner programs. We even have a program where, if you just need an outlet, right? You want to sign up for a gym membership.
Mm-hmm.
We can help with a gym membership. All right. You need supplements that you can't take. You know how it is in the military. Let's feed you pills. Let's feed you pills that
Yep.
to make it worse.
And they do that when you get out too.
Right. We have alternatives to that. And I think that makes a huge difference. I myself got on one of the wellness programs.
Mm-hmm.
I felt great after that.
Well,
Really
I can
good.
see your guns there pretty good. So,
Trying to
yeah,
trying to cut a little bit though.
you're good. You're all right. So, I can tell just by listening to you how much this program means to you, and I'm hoping any veterans that are watching this or their family members and you see this, I'm hoping that maybe it will speak to them and touch them in a way. Maybe they might want to become an ambassador themselves. How would they do that?
Okay. So also on the same website, go to mission22.com. It's going to ask you how you want to get involved. Okay. It's a really simple application process. And then you'll have somebody from our leadership will just reach out to you and they'll bring you in with open arms.
Okay.
And you get to really start learning, under, like I have some great leaders. And, we have, the app, we have the chat. So we're all establishing dialogue. And then we'll see an event on the calendar. And everyone can meet and greet. And we're set up a table. We set up a booth, at someone's event. Okay. And as we're getting to know each other, we're also doing outreach for, stopping veteran suicide. And even within Mission 22 itself, we have our own little groups. Okay. There's an off-road Jeep team, very popular.
Especially in this area, yeah.
A lot of people all over the world with their off-road Jeeps.
Mm-hmm.
Marathon team. We have a multi-gun shooting team. I'm part of the martial arts team. Okay, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu team. So there's all these different groups that there's something for everyone. Okay, you like outdoor fishing and hunting. There's groups. There's interest for everyone. There's ways of bringing that oh so important camaraderie back into your life as a veteran. That's an alternative to any of the bad stuff out there.
I think the big word that you said was camaraderie, because being in the military, you rely on your squad, your platoon, your when you're back in your company. These are men and women that you're serving with, that that they've got your back and that you've got their back. And then when you get out of the military, you don't have that camaraderie. And if you get lost in the shuffle, that's why another reason why I wanted to bring that up is because I think that getting involved with organizations like yourself, the Warrior Healing Center, Team RWB.
Right.
I mean, there are more, American Legion, the VFW, but there are all these different things that veterans can do. And I think that if they would do this and reconnect with the military, I think that they would find that connection again if they're missing that.
Right. And so, one of the biggest issues that veterans have when they get out is, what is my sense of purpose now? What do I do now? And I'll admit I lost it for a while. What's my sense of purpose? So when you take a look at these different organizations, right, as you join them, whether it's the VFW or whether it's the Legion or Mission 22 or Operation 22, there's so many organizations out there.
All right.
You begin to look for that same feeling that you had when you were in the military. And a lot of the people are going through the exact same thing that you have gone through. And even if the story is different, a lot of the same principles are the same. So I would love to get all of our local organizations together to start saying, hey, what are we going to do for veterans this year? What's our game plan for next year? What's next quarter going to look like? Who can we save? Who has resources? All right. What does your organization do? How can we add that to the plate? What does yours do? How can we add that? Nowadays, you have to take a look at what you can actually effectively do, and then you have to come up with a game plan for that.
Amen.
People are not just going to drift into your organization. There has to be some vocal outreach. So let's say, for example, a lot of the older generation, your Vietnam vets, okay, for example, they are used to the VFW and the Legion and those type of organizations. Now let's start taking a look at our Desert Storm, Desert Shield vets. Let's start taking a look at our OIF, OEF vets, okay? What can we do to help these particular groups? Your issues might not be the same as my issues, right? But maybe there's one organization that can help both of us. Or, let's say you run an organization and I run one, and you get someone that comes in that needs a particular solution that you can't provide, but you can help with another issue, right? Then you hand them off to me after you fix their problem. Someone comes into me and says, hey, my lights are about to get cut off. I can't pay my bills, and I'm still trying to get educated, so I can get a better career to take care of my family. All right, and they come and they see me, and I do what I can to take care of the immediate issue first. Right? All right, now we've gotten your bills paid for a few months. They can take that burden off of their back,
and they can breathe a little bit.
They can breathe a little bit. Okay, so a lot of veteran suicide comes just from trying to hold up that person's world, and they can't. They're crushing because everything's immediate. We live in a country where bills got to get paid, stuff has to be done, the objective has to be accomplished. After I finish with that immediate issue, hey, Mike, he has a question about education. He's trying to get educated, or he's trying to get some medical stuff, or maybe he needs some sort of therapy. And I hand them off to you. It can't be any more, okay, I took care of you, go over here and see Mike. Because once we as veterans lose trust in the system, that's it. You got one shot, maybe two. So you have to do the handoff. And then here you go, Mike, you take care of the next portion. He has another issue, you check back with them. Right? That's a really important part. Check on your friends.
Well, speaking of friends, I had a good friend that I was sitting there talking with the other day, and said, doing these things, helping out veterans, these organizations need to remember to put the veteran first, kind of check your ego at the door. And, it's not that I should be here to toot my horn.
Right.
It should be, I'm here, not because what I do, I'm here to help the veteran, because the veteran is struggling. And that's where the focus needs to be, not on the people providing the help. The focus needs to be on the veteran.
Right.
So.
Right. It shouldn't. Every veteran case should not be a fucking PR campaign.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? These are people. These are lives at stake that are coming to you for a solution, and that's where accountability is a huge thing. And it can't just be the vet that's in trouble that holds that organization accountable. It's got to be some personal accountability. If I'm helping a veteran that's in need, okay, there can't be any ego because it's not about me.
Right.
Okay. I don't know what's going to happen when that person walks out of my office unless I know I've fixed their problem or done my best to fix their problem. So you're right. You're 100% correct. These different organizations, okay, need to also adapt to today. Okay. It can't just be whatever you were 20 years ago. What got you there is not going to help today. This type of veteran. Okay. We're way too sophisticated now. There's way too many issues. You got to be able to see those cracks.
Well, and then one of my concerns also is that if a veteran, and like you shared with us that you'd had a few struggles after you'd gotten out, a veteran needs that help, and they go to one of these organizations to get help, and he goes in there and gets the ego trip, or gets the
gets dismissed.
Yeah.
Gets dismissed because maybe you're not having a good day today, Mike. Maybe you didn't have your coffee. Maybe you got into a fight.
Right, you're right, man.
With a lady last night, and today you're just not in the mood to come and deal with me. And to go to your point, I'll share a little bit about me. When I did get out, right, my home of record was still Florida. I was not considered an Arizona citizen.
Oh, okay.
So those benefits that you would normally get were not accessible to me. Wow. Okay.
That had to make it even harder then.
So I lived in poverty. There was a few times where I was actually homeless. Okay. And I had to overcome that. That's that dark period I was telling you about.
You did. And you did overcome.
Right. So you take a look at what what's that veteran going to do when there's no guidance?
Mm-hmm.
See, I didn't have any guidance. There's no place like the Warrior Healing Center for me to go to and say, hey, you know what? I need help with bills first, then education, career transition, post traumatic stress, can you help me with it? There was none of that. It was, here's a card, give this guy a call, here's another card, go up to Tucson, go up to Phoenix, right? Somebody will take care of you. There's no follow up. Never got any calls back. Nobody showed up to my door. No one sent me any mail. Never got any of that.
Yeah.
And so if you imagine how it was back then, versus now, we have way more resources. All we need now is just someone to say, hey, this resource is available. That's it. It's not a super hard, math equation. It's okay, here's a problem. Over here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 solutions. Okay, let's start with the first one, see if that works. That one failed? Okay, cool, don't go anywhere. Let's try the second one. And that's the main thing, is the hand holding. We have to walk our vets through the process and get them taken care of. If we just, here you go, good luck.
I swear, man, God must work mysterious ways, because I'm religious, just so you know. But when you said you're having a rough day, yeah, my day started off like really, really crappy. And it's like, no one wants to hear that part. And then when they ask you, like, oh, I'll say, hi, how are you doing? Oh, I'm good. And then when they ask me and I tell them, it's like they don't know how to respond to that. So it's like, sometimes it's got to be kind of like, even though you're not doing good, you have to say, I'm doing good, just because.
It's considerate.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
and that's the thing about veterans. We've overcome all those obstacles in the military,
mm-hmm.
right? Or we're still struggling to overcome those obstacles. So pride is a huge factor. I may not want to burden you with the fact that my lights and my water are about to get cut off. I may not want to burden you with the fact that there's almost nothing in my refrigerator.
Right.
I haven't really eaten in a day, or I eat once a day. I may not want to tell you that I don't have a college degree yet, but I'm working on getting there. These are the million different things that go through veterans' minds, right? The perception. Okay, what's the perception going to be today? It probably took that vet a couple of hours just to get ready, get the energy to go outside of their home. Mm-hmm. So then people don't really take that into consideration, because we're taught to only focus on ourselves. So yeah, if you come and you say, oh yeah, man, I'm fine, only really another veteran or someone that's in tune with people's energy is going to say, you know what, I think Mike's going through something. What can I do to help? Hey, Mike, come here. Let me talk to you real quick. What's going on? Tell me about it. And so that's where, that component is super critical nowadays.
So if you could enlighten me again, when was it that you got involved with Mission 22? What was the date, or around?
I want to say about 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay. So when you're doing this stuff, helping, you were doing this from home?
Yeah, doing it from home. So I kind of took a more active approach, because I was also in behavioral health for a while.
Okay.
I was also a martial arts instructor. So as veterans were coming anywhere in my life, I was trying to figure out ways of helping. So at the bank, try to help with financial literacy. As an instructor, we would just talk and, hey, what can I do to help? Now I have a resource. I might be able to help you a little bit. I know somebody, right? And so that kind of blossomed. Then came Mission 22, and that was like, here's a buffet of resources. Like, they were great. Like,
mind-blowing, huh?
Yeah, because now I actually have, I can point you in the right direction. So that was great. Working in behavioral health, a lot of the people I took care of were veterans. And so some of them would just have some minor, well, to them, it would be a minor issue, and I would find a way to help fix that, and they can go about their day. Some needed more, and so that's where I kind of had to step my game up, because you never know. The first vet might have a different problem from the second vet, from the third vet, but it's all under the same umbrella, So I just became more proactive, more hands-on.
Right.
And, in the end, now I'm here.
I like the fact that you walk the walk, not talk the talk.
Yes.
So that's a big thing. You know, my mom always drilled it into my head when I was a little kid, and it's just something that's stay with me forever. It's like actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
you could say I love you, I love you, I love you, but when you actually go out and do an act of loving,
Hmm.
an act of yeah, that action just speaks so much louder than just saying it.
Yeah.
So, and that's what you're doing. And this is what I was leading up to. So you're doing this at home, and how did you find out about the Warrior Healing Center, and how was that connection?
Okay. So prior to COVID, right, I heard quite a few good things about the Warrior Healing Center. I started seeing them on Facebook events,
Okay.
right? Started seeing different Facebook events, and I was trying to set up a event to attach myself and Mission 22 to one of their events. You know, hey, maybe can we come out and set up a booth, and you know, we would like to speak to veterans and maybe help them out, you know, that sort of thing. But with COVID going on, right, it was very hard to get someone on the phone to call me back, and emails, and you know, I kind of got lost in the sauce. Eventually, because I do have the right connections with Arizona at work and other people in the community, they were able to connect me correctly, right? And that's how I was able to call Tim.
Okay.
Then I just said, you know what? Kind of have a day off, a little bit of a day. I got half a day. Let me just drive by there. So I drove by and I parked and I walked in, you know, put my name in and said, hey, you know, I need to talk to Tim.
Signed it on the tablet,
I
right?
sure
Yeah.
did. And I waited, and they brought me into the lounge area, and I waited, and then I got brought back there, and we just had a ball, just talking about what it is we're trying to do, what direction we're trying to move in, how can we help, and you know, that's how that just snowballed, you know. So Warrior Healing Center definitely is like what we need at the very top. You have that one giant resource that's holding all the other resources to help everybody.
Yep.
So
And you have an office here now,
I have an
right?
office here now.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. So as people come in for intake and they have, you know, certain issues, I'm gonna do what I can to kind of sift through that. This is my part. This is where I'll help you. Okay, as best as I can. If I don't have the answer, someone else in this building has the answer.
And for those of you watching that don't know what an intake is, and I've been volunteering here for I think going on 2 years, and I keep forgetting intake because you got to get that uh, ingrained in your head. But what an intake is when you walk in the front doors here at the Warrior Healing Center, there's a computer there, and there's an intake form, and when you fill that form out, you put like your name, date of birth, your branch, just everything about you and your service in the military. And then it gets to the part like, what are your needs? What is your current stress level? You know, and there's all these different stress levels. And it's a valuable process because once you do that intake form, then the next step from there is it goes into Beth, and then Beth now has a couple people that are also training to help Beth. So the more people that we can get to,
Mm-hmm.
the more veterans we can help, is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
I'm not finding the right words, but
I know what you mean. I'm
yeah.
pretty sure others out there know what you mean.
So once that intake gets in there,
Mm-hmm.
they say, oh, okay, well, this person has this need. Then Beth or one of the assistants can then boom, right over to Aurelius, and you can help them out or whatever the situation may be.
And that's one of the things, excuse me, that I kind of like about being here is if there's an immediate crisis, we can help. If there's a particular smaller issue, we can help, right? So instead of, okay, well, I need to send you across town to do something, no, I just send you down the hall, right? Introduce you,
Right.
shake a couple hands. Let's get this started. Okay, now you're back. We took care of that issue. How do you feel now? Oh, I feel a lot better. You know, I was so worried. Okay, so now we've taken off, if we take it back to, you know, the post-traumatic stress, now we've taken off one of the burdens that contributes to that. Okay, we're talking about stopping veteran suicide, stopping soldier suicide. Address the main issue first. So right here in this building, when they come in, we address that first few issues. What is it going to take for you to want to keep on living? Right? What issue are you worried about? Right? Marriage issue, financial issue, education issue, finding a sense of purpose. Okay, those are all your issues. Cool. We're going to figure out how to kind of push that down. Now that you're breathing, you're relaxing, what's the next issue? What do you need from us? Let's go down the hall over here. Let's go around the corner. Let me log in real quick. And most of, like with Mission 22, most of the applications, quick.
And I'm going to tell you, I personally witnessed people that have come in on day one at their lowest and asked for help. And I've seen them 6 months later, and it's like they're at the top of their game because they got that little, I don't know where the saying came from, but I heard it again last night. They don't want to give you a hand out. They want to give you a hand up. They want to help bring you up. So
exactly. And that's the other thing that I'm kind of passionate about is if I help a veteran, I've seen quite a few since I've left behavioral health and since I've left banking that I recognize, and now married, families, educated, nice careers, that was a dark time of their life. And yeah, it's a significant emotional event, but now they're up here, and sometimes, I had one guy a few months back, helped him out of a crisis. Oh man, can I buy you a beer? I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. What do you do now? And he now owns his own company as well as a contractor.
Wow.
Yeah. Cleaned up, right? Great shape. Has a 2-year-old kid, doing well for himself.
You know what they all need is they need that hope.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't lose that. Cannot lose. That's like the main component. Once you lose a sense of purpose, a sense of well-being, a sense of hope, that's where we start seeing that number of suicides start to go up.
And Warrior Healing Center said, we are stronger working together, veterans helping veterans, and the community standing with us. And that's
true.
Great statement.
Very true.
Before we end here, I wanted to ask you, do you have any last thing that you'd like to share with us, or do you have any imparting words that you'd like to share to some of our veterans or viewers out here that are watching that might give them some inspiration or help? Or
there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Okay, even if you don't see it, look for it. Okay, we're in a time now where resources are available. You can find the help you need, or you can find the help that a family member needs. If you're looking to help someone and you're not sure which direction to go to, okay, there's resources there. Just go online, pick a website, just type in, how can I help prevent veteran suicide? Okay, if you know someone, okay, we have resources to help them. Don't be too prideful. Don't feel too much shame. Okay, that's not going to matter if someone takes their life. It'd be best if we prevent that from happening and let that person move on into bigger and better things. So look for the light.
Amen.
Okay, and the one thing I'll say to all these other veteran organizations out there, start collaborating, start partnering up, because we are stronger together. Okay, one organization may not be able to handle a large influx, so maybe two getting together, brainstorm, get creative, come up with ideas, start sharing. Okay, we're not in this for fame, guys. I can't stress that enough. We're not looking to have our names in the newspaper, be on the news, any of that stuff. We are trying to accomplish the main mission of helping veterans prevent suicide, fixing issues. Your organization or you're part of an organization, help out. Start calling another organization. Let's start teaming up.
And I always felt that not just veteran, suicide in itself is such a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Yeah.
Because I get the part with the pride and not wanting to ask for help, and it's hard to take that first step. But I got to tell you, everybody's life has value. Your life has value. You can't give that hope up, and you've just got to, take a deep breath, maybe swallow that pride a little bit like you're talking about.
Yep.
and just ask for help. There's no shame. What is that? No shame in my game, or what's that saying? Something like that,
No
or
shame in my game.
so. Well, Aurelius, thank you so much for joining me this morning, man. I really
Thanks for having me.
appreciate it, man. It's I could talk to you for probably another 2 hours
Probably.
on this whole thing because it's fascinating. I would love to have you back at a later date
Yeah.
to sit down and maybe give us an update with how things are going here with you at the Warrior Healing Center, and
Okay.
maybe you might want to share some of the stories that of people that you've helped, and because I really think it's important that veterans know that there is hope out there,
Right.
and not to give up on it.
Right. And I definitely want to come back and start empowering more people. Even if you're not a veteran, even if you were never in the military, I want to empower as many people as possible to start helping. Okay. And there's I'm trying to think of the way to do. I mean, for me, it feels like a duty. Okay. For others, it might feel like some enlightenment to them, adding to their life, some enrichment to go and help a veteran out. Okay, so let's look for the passion. Let's look for some solutions and start getting together.
Yeah, I think that's one of the biggest things about volunteering is that you're not doing it selfishly for yourself. You're doing it because you really want to help somebody else. And if you get a success story comes back, you kind of sit there and you look at it and you're like, wow. So what I do does make a change, and that's what it's about, helping others.
Right, and it doesn't take a lot of time. You know, if you think you got to be doing this 24/7 all the time, not everyone can do that. Just a few minutes sometimes is enough. So if everyone just looks to just help just enough, just what's within their capability, it will make a difference. Even if you don't see it right away, it makes a difference.
Well said. Can you hang out here a couple of minutes? I just got to read a few announcements here real quick, and then, all right. So the events that we have going on here at the Warrior Healing Center today, or this week, not today. It's today week. Never mind. Reset that one. Anyhow, starting tomorrow on October 1st at 0700. Yes, Dan, I got it right because I kept saying O, and he's like, O's not a number. 0. It's 0700. I don't know why I fell into that bad habit. Saturday, October 1st at 0700 hours is the 6th annual Sky Island Tour benefiting NAMI, and that's going to be at the mall at Sierra Vista. Also tomorrow, starting at 0930, going to 1030, is the weekly PMCS that takes place here at the Warrior Healing Center conference room. That's a support group. I know a few of the veterans that come in and are in that group, and it's a great group of veterans. So if you're looking for somebody to come in and sit down and talk with and share, it's a great group to sit down with, and it's Saturday mornings. So on Monday, October 3rd, starting at 1800 and going to 1900, we have the AVBA monthly meeting that will be taking place here at the Warrior Healing Center Recreation Room. On Monday, we also have the Scottish American Military Society monthly meeting, which will be taking place here at the Warrior Healing Center. That one starts at 1830 and goes until 2000. On Tuesday, October 4th, starting at 1700, we have the National Night Out, and that's going to be at Veterans Memorial Park. And I can't believe that I never knew what the National Night Out is. Do you know what that is?
It's incredible, and I will actually be there again this year.
You're going to be there?
Yes, I will be there.
What will you be doing?
So Mission 22 actually has an event there.
Okay.
And I always go out. I have a lot of friends, law enforcement. I'll actually be out there supporting some of the different organizations, PD, sheriffs, Arizona Rangers, etc., search and rescue. So it's definitely worth going out to. Bring the whole family. Okay, if you've always been interested in law enforcement or serving in any capacity, definitely need to go out there.
So that is the National Night Out, and that is Tuesday again at 1700 hours at the Veteran Memorial Park. On Tuesday, October 4th, starting at 1800 going to 1900, we have the Hero Paws Service Animal Support Group that will be meeting here at the Warrior Healing Center. On Wednesday, October 5th, starting at 0900 going to 1200, we have Painting with Sue, and that's at the Warrior Healing Center main conference room. This is a new one. I talked to the woman veteran. Her name's Tony, and she was telling me a little about it. It's called Heart to Heart Ladies PTSD Support Group. That meets on Wednesdays starting at 1800 and going to 1930, and that takes place here at the Warrior Healing Center front conference room. And again, this is a group that is designed specifically for women soldiers that served in our military. On Thursday, October 6th, starting at 1200 and going to 1500 hours, we have the cards and games that will be taking place at the Warrior Healing Center Military Library. This is a new event that they're trying to get up off the ground. So if you want to come in and play some cards or board games and sit down and meet with other veterans, it's a great opportunity, and it's only 3 hours of your time. All of these events cost you nothing but your time. And if you come in and check out some of these events, I think that you will be amazed at all the good things that are going on here. Again, here's something new I haven't read about before. On Thursday, October 6th, starting at 1800 and going to 1930, pins and needles ear acupuncture for vets at the Warrior Healing Center. I would love to get some more information on that one. So, Kathy, if you're watching this and you want to give me some more information, I'd love to be able to get some more information out on that, or if you've got it up on your Facebook website, that would be great. And last, but definitely not least, on Friday, October 7th, starting at 1100 and going to 1400 is Fun Food Friday. And it's always a theme. You never know what you're going to have. Last month, it was different types of rice dishes.
Oh, wow.
And they set it up in the Warrior Healing Center in the break room, and they Cook's Club puts on quite a spread. So, all right, that's all the announcements that I have for the events for this week. And after 2 or 3 takes, we finally got it right with the technical problems.
some technical difficulties. Okay.
Hey, thank you again, Aurelia, so much for joining us, man. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Mike. I appreciate it. You guys are going to see me again in the future. I'll be coming doing some more of these.
I'll be glad. I'm glad. This guy, good guy. Come in and talk to him if you get a chance. Don't forget, the first thing to do, if you haven't been in yet, do that intake at the front desk. Have a great day and a good weekend, Cochise County. I'll see you again next Friday. Bye.